What is going on, guys? I'm Jay the Black. Salute to everybody that's tuning in. I did a video recently, almost a week ago, about Max Kellerman leaving First Take. As a matter of fact, he actually may have been removed by ESPN. I don't think this was his decision. I think he is financially doing good on the show, even though he may have been miserable on the show because he may have been a bit of a fish out of water. But it seemed like he has settled into the role. But he was removed. He was basically demoted. Now, he has other shows on the network that he does. But First Take was his first time really being on their top rated show, right? Their flagship show with Stephen A. Smith. But apparently there's a report that is saying that Stephen A. Smith is the one that wanted him gone. And there was some rumors. There was some rumblings. I even thought this because I made my video almost a week ago. And recently, as you can see from this tweet here, and from, I would say a day or so ago, there was talk that Stephen A. Smith wanted him gone. Wanted him off the show. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of Max Kellerman. I have made that known. He's a raging SJW. I don't agree with him politically at all. I think he says a lot of things for, Twitter validation. And I could see why him and Stephen A. clashed. It would not surprise me at all if they've had disagreements off camera, because Stephen A. Smith has had his fair share of issues with other people while doing the show over the last couple of years. Y'all have seen it, even in the last couple of months. How many times have we seen stories of Stephen A. Smith getting into it with somebody? Again, I haven't watched much of First Take over the last, I would say, year. Here and there I have, but I could see this situation going downhill. The thing that I didn't see is Stephen A. Smith having a hand in him being let go from the show. But when I did my video, I talked about how ESPN was going to focus more on it being Stephen A. Smith's show. It basically being Stephen A. Smith versus the world. You got to understand, Stephen A. Smith makes $12 million a year from ESPN. They have a lot invested in Stephen A. Smith. He is the face of the company. So whatever Stephen A. Smith wants, he's going to get, even if they have to kick Max Kellerman off of the show. Now, according to this New York Post article, it says ESPN is Stephen A.'s world now. He wanted Max Kellerman off First Take, and now Max Kellerman is off First Take. He wanted to host a late night talk show, and he filled in as host for Jimmy Kimmel Live on Monday. He wanted $12 million a year, and he got $12 million a year. Love him or hate him, Stephen A. Smith works, and for that, ESPN has awarded him a lot of airtime, money, and power. So First Take will be even more Smith's show going forward. In the eyes of ESPN executives, he has earned it because Stephen A. Smith has been a company guy. Stephen A. Smith has been a company guy. ESPN can rely on him, whether y'all like it or not. I've had my disagreements with Stephen A. Smith. I have. But he is a company guy through and through. He's a company guy. They can rely on Stephen A. Smith. Whatever they ask him to do, he does it. And I've said this, why don't Stephen A. Smith? Because it seemed like at times they've punished him for his opinions on social media. And you say to yourself, why don't Stephen A. Smith just do his own thing? It's because Stephen A. Smith has been able to win over the loyalty of the network to the point to where they're giving him $12 million a year. He's guest filling in for Jimmy Kimmel Live. He's even doing General Hospital. I believe that's the reality show the soap opera he's on. One of these soap operas that he's on. So, yeah, they rely on Stephen A. Smith. They don't rely on Max Kellerman. To them, Max Kellerman is replaceable. Let's see. Smith, who's 53, has 4 years left on his 5-year, $60 million contract. but you can see now he is building towards his ultimate goal of hosting a late night talk show. They tried this with Stephen A. Smith. They tried to do the late night hosting thing with Stephen A. Smith on ESPN. Y'all remember that? That late night show he was doing back in like the early 2000s, early to mid 2000s, right? He left the network right after that. Didn't work. But I can see what he wants. So Stephen A. Smith is a very ambitious guy. Stephen A. Smith is very ambitious, and it would not surprise me at all if he is working towards getting that goal, right? It's all right in front of your eyes from his ESPN Plus show, Stephen A's World, in which he has been interviewing more people from outside of sports, to Monday's hosting spot for Kimmel on ABC, which, like ESPN, is owned and operated by Disney. Since he has become a giant in the industry, his moves reverberate. Smith has wanted Kellerman off First Take for years because their chemistry has never been good. I don't think Stephen A. Smith likes Max Kellerman, to be honest with you. I mean, I wouldn't blame him. The guy is a bit of a, he's a raging SJW. Okay, he always takes the popular opinion of social media, and I could see why Stephen A. doesn't like him. Does that mean that Stephen A. should just be trying to get him booted off the show? I'm not going to say I agree with that, but I mean, ESPN made that call, so obviously they agreed with him. Though it wasn't personal, according to sources, Kellerman has a smartest guy in the room attitude. Oh, and Smith wanted more of a debating challenger, and ultimately he wanted to be him versus the world. So, I mean, I sense that too. Again, Max Kellerman can be full of himself, and I can see why Stephen A. Smith got tired of that. Stephen A. Smith wants to go up against a guy that has a passion for debating. I don't think Max Kellerman has a passion or is really into it as far as debating is concerned. Not the way that Skip was. I think that when Stephen A. Smith sees Max Kellerman, he sees a guy who's in it for the check. That's what he sees. That's what he sees. He sees a guy who's in it for the check. He doesn't see anybody that's really passionate, really putting a lot into wanting to be in that role. So he's like, well, why is he here? Whatever you think of the hot take shows, they live on Sparks. Smith and Kellerman never had the flair of Smith and Skip Bayless. Smith has told everyone who needs to know, including Kellerman, that it didn't work well enough. According to sources, after Smith's wishes were executed, a fault line from Bristol to New York followed. Let's start with radio, since ESPN makes more changes there than a high schooler looking for a perfect Instagram outfit. Instant analogy. Kellerman will go to ESPN Radio mornings, replacing Zubin. Kellerman will be teamed with Keyshawn Johnson and Jaye Williams beginning next month. That might be a comfortable spot for him. I think Max Kellerman fits in better, with radio than TV, debating. And he's going to be with Keyshawn and Jaye Williams, which will make it easier, for him to sort of fit into the radio, doing radio. Kellerman will also receive a daily TV show, which will likely be at 2 p.m. on ESPN, potentially impacting the spots of Jalen and Jacoby, and highly questionable. Kellerman will have the chance to show he can be a number one on a national sports variety show. He will continue his once a week boxing program on ESPN2. The morning stability that ESPN once had with Mike and Mike is now long gone. Yeah, because they didn't want to pay Mike and Mike. After Mike Golick and Trey Wingo lasted just 3 years, ESPN is changing its mornings again a year later. Zubin, who had been on medical leave due to complications from diabetes, will return to SportsCenter. Alan Hahn, who mostly filled in for Zubin and was a front runner to replace him, will go back to middays with Bart Scott. Bart and Hahn will add an hour at noon to 3 p.m., which likely will result in 98.7 FM's ESPN New York. The Michael K. Show's moving its start time back to 3 p.m. Man, sports radio used to be so good, man. sports radio used to be so good, man. You can put on the sports radio station from the early mornings to late in the afternoons, man. You can just sit there and listen to all these different shows, all these different opinions. But now, man, because of the climate that we're in, man, it's sports radio's not fun anymore. It really isn't. Anyway, Chris Canty will leave ESPN New York's 5 through 8 a.m.'s morning show, which will now feature just Rick and Dave on that particular slot. Canty will partner with Mike Golick Jr. on the national afternoons not heard in New York from 3 to 7 p.m. Golick's former partner, Chinny, I think that's how you say her name, will see her role expand on NBA and college hoops. Got all of that? Good, because ESPN executives will probably change it again next year because they don't know what they're doing. These guys did not prepare for how things would change so rapidly. And because they don't want to pay certain salaries, so they're either going to expand your role because of what you get paid, or they're going to let you go. They're going to bring in a bunch of people that aren't going to, they're not going to cost the same amount of money. But yeah, let's get through some of this. I don't need a progress report on ESPN. All the moves are a result of Smith feeling he and Kellerman were not connecting with the audience. He is not wrong. Kellerman is smart, but he hasn't shown the command of the screen or a memorable delivery yet to fully resonate because he takes the popular opinion. He doesn't think for himself. Kellerman doesn't think for himself. He doesn't. He takes the popular opinion, what's going to cause the least amount of, pushback. Stephen A. Smith embraces getting pushback. Max Kellerman does not. That's why he never trends. The only time you see Max Kellerman trend is him getting booted from First Take. That's really one of the first times you've seen him trend. Because usually if you're trending, it's because you said something that goes against the popular opinion. You actually thought for yourself. And he's so afraid of the pushback that he doesn't develop his own personality and his own thoughts, right? There have been times where Max Kellerman has shown promise, but there's times where he hasn't. I'm not saying he should be kicked off the show. I'm not saying that. But again, this is the power they've given Stephen A. Smith. And the ratings show that people don't care about Stephen A. Smith and Max Kellerman. So if you look at that, who you think is going to get blamed? Do you think Stephen A. Smith is going to get blamed, or do you think Max Kellerman is going to get blamed? They're going to look at the guy they're paying $12 million to, and they're going to look at the guy who they're not paying $12 million to and say, we need to make changes to the show. How can we make the quickest change? Well, let's remove Max Kellerman. They were not going to remove Stephen A. Smith. After Bayless left for Fox Sports 5 years ago and Kellerman arrived, it was Smith's show. The program moved from ESPN2 to ESPN to maintain hot take supremacy. It still makes ESPN money. The next iteration will have Smith verbally sparring with folks inside and outside of ESPN, all likely approved by him. So why is Kellerman no longer on ESPN? It wasn't really personal. It was just business. Stephen A. Smith wanted the breakup, and so it was. And this is all for what Stephen A. Smith wanted. But y'all can let me think in the comment section below, and let me know your